holiday can only mean one thing. It means carnival. So I'm here in Notting Hill for a very special episode of Capital Culture. Now, every year the streets around here are packed with people dancing, music pumping. So what better place to be than here at the Tabernacle, the nerve centre of the operation. And I'm joined by three guests who wouldn't miss Carnival for the world. Carnival boss, Matthew Phillip, Carnival ambassador, and of course, reggae source legend, Levi Roots, and pioneering DJ, Marilyn Dennis. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to Capital Culture. So, guys, Carnival is nearly upon us. You can see the preparations have been happening all around us from the moment we arrived. Are you excited? Or should I ask, are you ready, perhaps more importantly? Matthew, that's got to go to you, hasn't it?
We're always ready for Carnival. We're always ready. There's always last minute things to do, but you know, we planned for this from the day after last Carnival, so you know, I'd definitely say we're ready for this Carnival.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, tell us, what can we expect from this year's Carnival?
The same wonderful things that we have every year. You know, you're going to see the streets of Notting Hill filled with people from all cultures, all diversities, mostly with smiles on their faces, enjoying themselves, tasting. Mostly, anyone who's not, if they're worried,
as the boss.
Yeah, so
he'll be looking worried, right? Okay.
You know, to our teams of stewards is that they'll be smiling a lot of time, but a lot of the time they've got to focus because we know a big interest of us is the public safety. So most people like I say, smiling, and if they're not smiling, it's because they've got some jerk chicken in their mouth.
That sounds all right. Yeah. And Levi, you're an ambassador now.
Yes.
First time this year. But you started off here selling your now world-famous sauce on the roadside.
I did.
What does Carnival mean to you?
Well, Carnival is the heartbeat of London, isn't it? It's that throbbing heartbeat, and why shouldn't it be the heartbeat when you have over 1 million people in one place? I don't think Carnival has been given, you know, the sort of kudos that it deserves, like the Chelsea Flower Show and other events that we have here in the UK that we all really dear. And if you can have something that you have 1 million people in one place, all with the heartbeat of London and everything that Carnival throws at you, then it has to be something spectacular. And I just can't wait for it every year. And this is the time when you start to build up that vibes. Because we're days away from it now, and I'm starting to feel really excited. And I can't wait for Sunday, because Sundays is my favorite day.
Your favorite?
My favorite, because the kids are out there. And it's the family day, then you see the kids dressed up, and then you get ready for your own party the following day on the Monday.
And I suppose for you, Carnival was a pretty amazing business opportunity, like it is for loads of people.
Yeah, it is, because the food plays such a major part in it, you know. And I was just one part of the old jigsaw puzzle that goes into make up the food over many years. And that was my way into this, having a piece of Carnival that I can call my own. Because I remember the days when I started out, when it was very difficult, because you couldn't make any sales and you waited to get your own sales first in, and then every year as you go along you get more popular and people start to come to your stall, and that's how I started, and it's been a fantastic journey for what? 12 years now since I first came on the scene.
12 years. So Marilyn, yours has been a little bit longer than that. You've made history at Carnival. You were part of Notting Hill Carnival's first all-female sound system. That's right, isn't it? So just start by explaining for people that don't know what a sound system is. It's not the same as a DJ, is it? It's
no,
different.
It isn't.
Yeah.
So, you know, what it is a collective of people. So there's selectors, and there's mic men, and then you've got box boys who do all the background stuff and the setting up. So that's ultimately what the sound system is. It's very different from a DJ. A DJ can just rack up with their computer or their CDs or whatever. Whereas we come with the whole thing, wouldn't you say, Levi? We come with the whole thing, the speakers, the everything. So that's what's special about Notting Hill Carnival, because you get to see some of the best sound systems in the world that come to play at Notting Hill Carnival.
Now I heard you say mic men, and I heard you say box boys. You did things a bit differently, didn't you?
Yeah.
So when you rocked up, 25 years ago this year? Your 25th year?
Yeah, it's my 25th year, and we lifted the speakers along with the guys who lent us their set to be here. So yeah, that was a very, very long time ago, and it's just really fantastic to be part of the, you know, and I can't believe that I've I'm here today, 25 years, and celebrating this and being part of this iconic festival. It's like a national treasure now, wouldn't you say, guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
It is like a national treasure.
Yeah.
And every time I say to people, because you underplay it as a participant, you underplay the part that you play in the carnival. And now, it's only now that I've said, I take ownership for the part that I play.
And are you in the same spot every year?
In the same spot. And I called it Jamaica Corner because it's everything. You try and reenact what happens in Jamaica. That's, the place where my parents came from. So, there's jerk chicken, food, that's literally fundamental to what we do. If we switch on, the food has to be ready. That's what I say to my sponsors. The food has got to be ready, because once we start playing, then it all fuses together. You've got the smells and you've got the music, and you've just got this diverse international audience. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Nothing like it in the world. Nothing like it.
Seen it from that same vantage point every year for
and to
quarter of a century. How much has it
yeah.
changed in that time?
I've seen people grow up. I've seen families, and it is very much a family event. I've seen people come back. I've seen their kids grow up. Then they bring their friends, and then they bring other friends, and then they tell you, I flew in from France to come and see you. I'm coming back at 5 o'clock. So you better be playing what I want you to play. So
no pressure.
And well, it's what they expect from you. And then they'll say they're going off to this sound system, or they're going to see the floats. And I just like the diversity. Miss, can you play it again, please? Can you play what you played last year? So there's young people coming to listen. And I think for me that's an honour. They could be my grandchildren, and they're coming to hear me play. And they're coming to see all the other things that Carnival have to offer.
Yeah. I want to talk a bit about the history, because Matthew, you're billing this as the 53rd Carnival this year?
Yes.
But there's a little bit of dispute about when it actually started. Was it 59,
a few years ago
66?
we had a number of kind of meetings, I call them meetings, here at the Tabernacle, where we had a lot of the Carnival pioneers, many people that were there in year one.
Yeah.
And it's our own fault that, I say our own fault, I was a child at the time, but the history hasn't been captured properly. So there's some debate whether it was 1964, 65 or 66.
Or 59, I read. Something happened in 59.
No, in 1959, Claudia Jones did some indoor carnival events in St Pancras Hall. That was the first one that she did, but that wasn't Notting Hill Carnival. What she was doing was bringing Caribbean Carnival to an audience, and that was the first time Carnival, as we know, Notting Hill, that kind of style was brought to the UK, and they were indoor events, and people were given a chance to taste the culture of the Caribbean.
That sort of sowed the seed, if you like.
That began the seeds, and also I would say what played an equally big part in starting Notting Hill Carnival, the other seed that was sowed in 1959 is the unfortunate racist murder of Kelso Cochrane. Notting Hill Carnival has a reason. The people of this community didn't just decide that they wanted to have a party or a festival or a carnival, which it's now led on to. It was about trying to unite this diverse community. Notting Hill has always been diverse. It's very lovely now. At the time, it was a slum, and it was a lot of immigrants, people from all over the world, but very poor people. It was a very different time to what it is now. I mean, I'm the son of a Trinidadian man and an Irish woman, that were in this area in the 60s and 70s. They had a dog as well, so if you know the saying, it was problems for them, to even get somewhere to put their head down. So the reason for Carnival is about bringing the community together through, and why we celebrate Carnival and hold it to our hearts. It's about freedom. There's not many times where we can take to the streets and people can enjoy themselves, dance, smile on the roads of London. It's about kind of us claiming our place in society. It's gone on from that now, because we have people from all over the world, rich, poor, black, whatever religion you come from, everybody feels there's something for them at Carnival. So, that's very important to me. And, it came from those struggles. Carnival came out of struggle. And to some extent it still has these challenges, but everyone who works on Carnival, whether you're a sound system, all of the food stalls, the parading bands, the steel bands, you know, everybody's determined to keep this going because it's a chance for us to celebrate the diversity of the country. And like Levi said, you know, it should be celebrated by the whole of the UK, like other events. It puts the UK and London on the map. The whole world is looking at us for this weekend that's coming up, and it should be celebrated.
And when did the carnival that we all know now really begin in earnest? You know, the Maz bands and the steel bands.
It started, you know, it's like London, it kind of organically grew. In 64, 65 or 66, it was started as something called the September Fair. It wasn't even on the bank holiday weekend. But what ended up making it be the carnival that we know parading was the fact that Ronnie Laslett, who was a local neighbourhood community worker, decided to invite a man called Russell Henderson, who played steel pans, and he came along just to play outside her adventure playground. And he comes from the spirit of Carnival in Trinidad. He said with his friends, let's go around the block. Yeah. So people decided to follow him, and that's how the parade.
That's how it began.
You know, and the Carnival is a product of a contribution of many people over many years. Yeah. A few years later, you had different organisers. A big significant change came in 1973. We've got a big banner up on the wall there that talks about Leslie Palmer. Yeah. Leslie Palmer, although there were sound systems before 1973, he came in as organiser in 73 and made a concerted effort to go and invite sound systems. He went and spoke to local people and said, look, I'm going to get a sound system to play out here. Will you let them get electricity from your house? Yeah. So that was when the sound systems were introduced to Carnival officially. Yes. That was when the first real costume bands, as we know it now, you know, from Caribbean Carnival culture, that's when they first came to Notting Hill. So that was a significant turning point for Notting Hill Carnival.
So for people that don't know, tell us what Maz bands are.
Mas is short for masquerade, which is put on a costume. It comes from the tradition back in the Caribbean when the slaves would be given a couple of days off a year, and they would, their costumes, they would be masquerading as plantation owners or as whatever, and they'll either be in suits and kind of mocking them, or they would dress up as devils, because the slaves, the rich people that had them under these harsh conditions, were devils. Yeah. So, they were kind of subtly trying to express themselves and actually, point out that what was happening wasn't right. That's why I say Carnival is about the celebration of freedom. Yeah. Because it goes back to those days there when we had plantations and slaves, and this was the time that they were given to 1 or 2 days a year to do what they want. When the rest of the year they were under lock and key, unfortunately.
So you had those mass bands, you had steel bands, and then, as you say, the sound systems came later. You were really blazing a trail as a woman with a sound system, as we've said. What sort of reception did you get the first time you rocked up here?
I used to play, I currently play as Seduction City. I played as Melotone in 1994, and I came in with another woman. And we rocked up, totally inexperienced, and thought, yeah, we can do this. So we got a local guy to bring his set, because we didn't have a set. We didn't have a set big enough to do the carnival. And we were playing out of this van, first time on Telford Road. And Matthew, you know Telford Road, it's a huge road. Right. Well, not so huge anymore, but...
Not when you're on it.
No, not when I'm on it.
So it says it shrunk.
Yes. So we were playing away, really nervous and really thinking that we've achieved something. And this guy came by, looked at us as we were playing out and kissed his teeth and just walked by, and we just thought, oh well. But 25 years on, it's heaving, and we've created a space for younger women. So that I wish I could meet that guy to this day, and I'm calling out to him. If you were the guy that was kissing your teeth 25 years ago, please reveal yourself.
Reveal yourself.
Reveal yourself, because come and see it now.
Yeah. Changed.
Yeah, it's changed. It's it's.
Right, this is an appeal for him to get in touch. Right, this is an appeal for him to get in touch. I think.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's But now, I've received so much support in terms of and now my role is to assist all of the sound systems to be compliant in terms of health and safety, and in terms of safety, event plans, and all the legislation that's needed to come and be present here at Carnival. So that's my role now, and trying to make it more inclusive and have young people on board.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really what our plans for the future are, is to hand over this significant heritage to young people in every aspect.
Well, because ultimately, I mean, Levi, do you feel like we just heard sort of all the way that Carnival's evolved and all the changes that have happened, but do you think really the message of Carnival has stayed the same over all those years?
It is in some ways, but I think it is changing in others. I think every year this sort of cloak of closure that's been over Carnival for many years, I think it's damaged its spirit in some ways. And I celebrated last year because there wasn't that sort of bad reporting as there always was. And I just saying to Matthew earlier, and I'm really hoping that this year we get the same again, because it really was a relief to watch on the TV and see the news reporting. It wasn't that harsh, and you didn't get this vitriol of people saying that Carnival is about violence and that sort of stuff. So it really was a breath of fresh air. So I'm excited about this year. That says hopefully that we'll get the same report from the press as well, that Carnival is about family. You can come and you can enjoy yourself, and it's not this thing about stay away from Carnival or go to other events. This is the main thing for London at the end of August.
Yeah, because I suppose, Matthew, that's a good point. That must have been frustrating for you at times when the media has sort of focused on negative stories rather than focusing on the celebration, really.
Very frustrating, because behind every sound system that you see, behind every costume band, there's some great stories out there as how they come about. So Marilyn's given you a bit of her history. There's similar stories across the whole of Carnival, and not just bands, the stall holders, whatever you do, there's individuals that come to Carnival that play a big part. Something that comes to mind is a gentleman called Scarborough. He's like Peter Pan. He's been in Carnival since I was 5 or 6 years old, dancing, making crowds part for him. And he's at Carnival every year in a really nice suit, and nobody dances like him. He'll dance for the whole weekend, and he'll be at all the different sound systems, and everybody who's got a deep history or link to Carnival has come across him at some point. It's those little nuances that make Carnival the great thing for me.
People like him. So
it's about people and the stories behind those people, and there are some great positive stories.
Absolutely, yeah. You've got people like Peter Pan, and you've got, obviously, Marilyn was just saying, it's about sort of bringing younger people on board and getting them involved. How do you continue to reflect the Carnival sort of rich, long history, whilst also innovating and modernising and staying relevant?
Well, with Carnival's always relevant. I think society's catching up with Carnival. There's a big thing at the moment about recycling and in eco. Most people that make their costumes is from recycled materials. It started, if you talk to people that were making costumes back in Trinidad, they would, the elders would talk about going down to the riverbank to find stones and beads that they're going to go and make as their costume. It's the same thing. Even this year, the children's band that's based here is doing a theme about corals.
Okay,
they wrote a song talking about, because the corals in our seas are in danger. They speak about, don't go away, I haven't had a chance to see you yet. So they've designed a whole float and costumes to kind of bring awareness to it. So I'm not so sure that we need to catch up. I think, Carnival's always been trailblazing things. Yeah. Whatever it is, whether it's, look at Levi's food and things. That is, when Levi started and people before, nobody would ever thought that kind of business run by a black man would get to where it is. So Carnival in itself it trailblazes all of these many things.
Yeah, and there will be this year, as there have been for the past couple of years, there'll be a 72-second silence. Yes, that's right, isn't it? To remember the people that died in Grenfell Tower. That's become a really sort of important part of the weekend, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's because, Grenfell is not disassociated from us. The Grenfell community is Carnival community, it's our community. I lived very close to there as a young child. I know many people everything that we do from Carnival's perspective is not us deciding what needs to be done. It's in consultation with people that have been closely affected with it. We work closely with Grenfell United and we make sure that they're happy with all of our plans. And as Carnival organisers, we're committed that while people are still in temporary housing, while that inquiry is still going on, we're going to continue to show our support for them and what they're trying to achieve for justice, etc.
On a practical level, the Carnival is all about noise, of course. We've just been talking about that. How do you manage that in the middle of the day? It's on Saturday, isn't it?
It's one of the most powerful things we can do is bring Carnival to silence for
everything
72
off.
seconds.
Everything off, yeah.
On the 2 days. You know, it's very important to us because 72 people lost their lives on that night.
Yeah.
A couple of them may have been, you know, in the days after. And we mustn't forget that. These people were from this community. They're still struggling and they're still in trauma. That's the people that were lucky enough to survive it. Now, it's harsh. They're going through very difficult things on a daily basis. And if this is our way of showing how much we are behind them and we support them, and if as long as there's a request for this to happen, we will facilitate it. The sound systems have unanimously agreed to support us in it, so everybody's going to be tuning into the station so that we can do it. It's not just about turning off, it's about making it happen all together.
Together.
You know, every sound system...
And I suppose getting the message out so everyone knows it's going to happen.
Every sound system, everyone who's got a speaker, we're asking them to tune into the Beat FM to synchronise it so that we can have that silence together, because it won't be effective if this one goes off and you can hear something in the background. We want to bring the whole of the streets of Ladbroke Grove to fall silent for 72 seconds, and working with the sound systems, the parading bands and local businesses that have speakers that may be able to help, and the 3 stages, we think it's going to be very powerful, and the message will continue to stay in people's minds. Because I think a lot of people have forgotten about Grenfell, if I'm honest, and it needs to stay in the public attention.
Yeah, I think it will give people, just ordinary people, a chance to do their own mourning, or to have a way of expressing their feelings about Grenfell. Some people that perhaps weren't even here, because, you know, as we mentioned, so many people will be coming into the country for Carnival. I think this will be a chance for us all to focus on one issue, which is Grenfell, for that small amount of time. So it is a brilliant idea. I support it 100%.
I suppose, Carnival's all about bringing the community together physically for 2 days. But really, do you guys feel it sort of brings the community together all year round, really?
Absolutely. You've got little pockets of activity going on in preparation for Carnival straight away.
Is it a 12-month?
You know, a lot of the costume bands actually reveal their costumes in the month after Carnival. So it's
for the next one?
Yeah. It's a whole year-round process.
Yeah.
In fact, some bands may have even released their theme for 2020 already. We haven't even done 2019 yet. So it's all, Carnival's a way of life for a lot of people, it's not just a weekend.
Yeah.
It doesn't just happen, a lot of planning and preparation goes into it from the grassroots level and the artistic level right up to the kind of safety and, those considerations. It's a way of life.
So how long is your set each day?
We play for 7 hours.
7 hours?
Yeah, we play from 12 to 7.
That is a marathon.
So that's the differentiation between a DJ. A DJ might well play a set for an hour, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
They'll play for an hour, but we'll play for 7 hours. But this time, in keeping with what I want to see in terms of maintaining the heritage around sound systems, I've invited younger female DJs to play in my space.
Okay.
Because it's symbolic. It's a female space. There's a lot of females around, so there'll be a couple of female DJs that will be playing on the site.
Do you feel there are still not enough women following in your footsteps? Is that why you're doing that?
It's just to give them the opportunity.
Yeah.
It's an amazing opportunity to play to a live audience. And I think what I want to demonstrate to them is that sound systems are the best thing. DJs play solely by themselves. To be a collective as part of a sound system is just an amazing thing to experience, and to be playing to an audience that is fluid, because 1 minute they'll hear a track and then they just move on, don't they? So this crowd is just moving from place to place.
Yeah.
So the crowd decide how popular you are.
Yeah.
So that's why my site is one of the popular ones, so to speak, wouldn't you say, Matthew?
Will you be dropping by, Levi?
Yeah, absolutely. But for me, the food is the main part of Carnival for me, because I think the food guys are the hardest working part Carnival, because they're going to be one of the first ones here. I remember we used to turn up here like at 5:30 in the morning just to be able to set up, and then you're actually the last one to leave. Most stores don't leave at all. They have to stay and look after their stall overnight, because it's a Sunday and a Monday job. So they do really a fantastic job, the food. And I suppose when the revelers come, one of the things that inspires most people is the taste of the food. And I think my tip for this year is for people to look out for flags, because I know people always sort of go for the jerk chicken and go for the norm, but I think there are thousands of islands in the Caribbean, and we got to remember that it's not just about the 5 that we hear about all the time. I think if we look out for the flags, you may be able to taste something a little bit different this year, because there will be some smaller islands that will be involved in Carnival this year. That's not the normal, so your Jamaican and your Antiguas and that.
Really?
Yeah, a bit more. I think a little bit of French will be involved this year, with Guadeloupe and Martinique and those kind of islands, which will be quite fun.
That's your top tip for Festival 2019?
Look out for the flags. If you're not quite sure about the food, because most stores will actually fly the flags of their islands that they're from. So maybe you need to take a little course in Caribbean flags.
A little education. Yeah, absolutely.
We've also got a Carnival app where people can find the traders, but they can actually see what the menu is. So if you're particularly looking for a trader that's selling vegan food, you can find that easily by using the Carnival app.
Fantastic. So that's here as well. You've got vegan options. Just thinking, Matthew, about the logistics, because everyone's getting excited in the background there. That's no less than we'd expect. Marilyn talking about her house turning into a sound system. No one's allowed to cook, you know. Levi talking about what time you have to turn up if you're a stall holder. There's a lot of logistics involved. I mean, it is Europe's biggest street party, isn't it?
Well, it's not a street party, it's a festival. It's a lot more than a street party, but it is Europe's biggest event. Although I heard that Rotterdam are claiming to be Europe's biggest carnival, and I think they've forgotten that we're actually still in Europe.
I was going to say, yes.
Brexit hasn't happened yet. So they're already starting to make that claim, and we haven't even left yet.
Logistically though, I mean, I'm thinking, how many portaloos do you have to hire, for example? Things like that you have to think about all year round.
There are hundreds and hundreds of that are put in by both councils, and then you have independent people providing toilets, and the stages have toilets. It's a lot.
Well, I've got to ask you all a final question, which is just what sums up Carnival for you. But Marilyn, I specifically wanted to ask you, is there one record that you always play?
This year, I can't do that.
Why?
Because it's the 25th anniversary, so
it's... change it up?
I've changed it up, and on my Instagram page I put the top 5, and that was really difficult. I was going, no. But it's got to be Toast, because and that's by Coffee, a young 18-year-old out of Jamaica everyone's playing it, and everyone will play that song. So, you know, for me, it's a blessing to be here and to be part of this community. Coming in and out of this community, I feel like I live here. I wish I did live here, but it's you know, that is the record for me that I will be playing for the 2 days. I'll play it at least twice, which is not what you're supposed to do, but I'm playing that twice. You're going to make an exception. Yeah, I'm playing Coffee's tune twice, so yeah, that's going to be the one. Okay. That's the one for me.
So Levi, what?
Yeah, I'm old school, you know, so I'm going to go for the one that says, feeling hot, hot, hot. That one, I think that's a carnival tune, and I think when you hear that, you know where you are, so I'm going to go easy and choose that one, hot, hot, hot.
Finally, you've had a few minutes to think about this.
Well, I can't really pick a song. For me, what sums up Carnival is it's the ultimate expression of freedom and unity, and that's it. Those 2 words are what sum up Carnival for me: freedom and unity.
right, well guys, thank you so much for joining me to talk about Carnival. There's nothing else for it now, just a couple of days and it'll all be kicking off. Thank you.
Thank you.